What's good, yeah? So our community contact at Moonton just sent me a message containing two things. Number one, Rock, the guy we talked about 2 days ago that looks absolutely fantastic and is an HP-based damage dealer, is now available to be tested, which is going to be happening in a later video today. And number two, especially for the ones that have been playing for quite a while already, Falcia is getting a rework. Now, what would be my dream? The answer is very simple. 2-tile range. So yeah, we're about to test, see what happens, get into the nitty gritty, compare to her older version, and here we go.
Our research begins.
Alright, first off, let's start with the basic attributes. Let's see if she got another range tile. She didn't. But there might have been a change right here. So let's have a look at these stats. 19,100 HP, 4,500 attack, 2.6 attack interval, as well as 19 cost. Those are probably the most important parts. Alright, again, 19,000 attack, 19,000 HP, 4,500 attack, and an attack interval of obviously 0.8 because she has gear on, but in actuality it's 2.6. So basic attributes are the same. Alright, so crazy difference. 20 times she needs to attack for 25 seconds. Now the biggest question is obviously, can she perma stay in the demon slaying stance as long as she can attack 6 times in 10 seconds? I doubt it. Probably doesn't work. But if we push her attack interval, as you've already kind of seen in the gear, to 0.7, though I'm very certain, not very certain, but it's rather simple to get her to 0.7. So if we had an attack interval of 0.7 and we're required to attack 6 times, that would be our first attack, and then 0.7 seconds, 0.4 seconds for 3, then another 0.4 seconds, so 3.5 seconds after her first attacking, so a total of 4.2 if it goes from 0, but if it starts after her attacking, we have a total of 3.5 seconds to actually have downtime in between the demon slaying stance. Now, does the demon slaying stance do the same thing? Basic attack deals 160% true damage, Shadow Slash will deal 260% true damage 5 extra times. Alright, so right here this would also be 95% if fully skilled. When in demon slaying stance, decrease damage by 50%. When the hero is shielded, increases damage by an extra 20%. So that is your usual. When deployed, immediately enters demon slaying stance that lasts for 35 seconds. So there's the difference. But I'm unsure how long the duration is, but it is missing the rage part. And then right here we still have your usual 160% damage. And obviously don't forget the fact that in demon slaying stance, Shadow Slash will deal 260% true damage 5 times, which means it's not only 1,600%, but it's 260% times 5, which is at around 2,250%, which gives us a grand total of 2,800 damage, or 2,800%, which obviously sounds pretty nice. So let's again remember this one. It says 35 seconds fully skilled. But here it's only 10 seconds, though we do get that 10% extra rage. So, alright, overall thoughts. Did they touch her awakenings? Gains a shield with this range of 800% attack speed upon entering demon slaying stance. 800% attack speed, sure. 5% attack. When heroes in demon slaying stance, reduces attack interval by 20. Broken. 8% crit rate. And when heroes in demon slaying stance, gave the 30% basic dodge rate? Now that's new, isn't it? What the hell? Time to check. Alright, so straight off it looks like they've reduced the shield from 2000% attack speed to 800. Number 2 is the same. Number 3, when heroes in demon slaying stance, reduces attack interval by 20% is the same. And then the A5, when the heroes in demon slaying stance, she becomes immune to death when receiving fatal damage. However, once the effect ends, she will instantly die. So it was kind of like a Volcura, kind of like a Valeria, but it's also kind of weird because if she dies, yeah, I mean, she's dead. Now she has a 30% dodge rate, which means pretty much every third hit she's going to evade. So if she could, in technicality, take 2 hits, get healed, and then dodge the 3rd hit, and then get healed back to full HP, she's going to stay alive permanently. But that's interesting, getting that 30% dodge rate. But I don't think an A5 on a limited hero especially makes all that much sense. But good enough. Alright, so now that we figured out the differences in talent, in passive, and I guess barely in the awakenings, ooh, I guess it's time to have some fun and see how much she can do. Though, honestly, it kind of feels like we need to use him, because he just grants a 10% max HP shield to ever cast an ultimate within a tile lasting for 10 seconds, which would then obviously, like, this is like fitting your fist towards someone's eye. It just fits perfectly, because it lasts for 10 seconds, and her demon slaying stance, or basically also now lasts 10 seconds. So it would be for like the whole duration of the demon slaying stance, in which you would deal the increased damage through dealing extra true damage and then dealing more slash damage and all that good stuff. This Falcia. There we go. So, damn! Alright, so hopes are high. Can we make her work? Can we get a 50k Northerner team? Obviously, it's possible if you get carried by the other factions. But one good part about Falcia, even by the time she came out and not being buffed like that, was the fact that she was able to pull around 70 million by herself, even without a Lord bonus. And just having a hero like that in your Guild Boss team just makes stuff way easier, because you only need one slot. You can just place it on the ground and be done with it, really. So I'm hyped. We now, the next part of the video is going to be a couple questions, obviously. Number one, how much attack speed do we need, right? Do we need 0.7, like here? Or is it actually better to go with, where was the fitting one? This one? Is it actually better to go with 0.9? But then rather have 230% crit damage? That's definitely something very interesting, and I think the major difference is obviously the longer you take to attack, the longer the downtime is in between demon slaying stances, in which she's just way stronger, right? When a demon slaying stance, so she basically has a permanent 50% damage increase and then a 20% extra if shielded. And also she obviously gains more rage. So overall, I am leaning towards going for more speed. And then obviously we have 3 artifacts and we need to figure out what's the best. Rentier, if we use her in second row and potentially even Laurel booster. Amulet of Arteries for every 10 instances of magic attacks, because she does magic attacks with her basic attacks. Is it worth it? Who knows? And then Wailing Skull. So it's mainly most likely going to be between Wailing Skull and Ramtier. But Amulet of Arteries, we're going to be testing it just for fun. Furthermore, on the note of Laurel boosting, if she regenerates her rage basically as fast as a Salazar, and now with the changes towards her gaining even more range in Demon Slaying Stance, probably even faster than a Salazar, which kind of probably puts her in a position where she doesn't need a Laurel buff. So yeah, that's also something we gotta figure out. Oh damn. Alright, it's time to test what is better for Falcia, 0.9 or 0.7 attack speed. And for that we'll be obviously swapping out this necklace or this amulet, which is going to be swapped for this one to test the two. So the difference is 150 attack speed or 51% crit damage. And also on another note, have you already noticed it in the video? There is another substat for gear. Right here, Rage Region Auto, obviously no piece at the moment here, might just be variant gear exclusive, but it opens some very exciting possibilities of testing in regards to what is better for certain champions. Is it Rage Region Auto or Rage Region Percentage? So that is definitely going to be quite exciting, but for the moment it just exists. So there's that. Let's talk about the test real quick. The top row is just there to hold off the demons. Falcia is gonna be fighting the boss one-on-one. Constance is there because she's a neutral healer that doesn't provide a buff because we're not going to be triggering her ultimate. So no extra attack speed from the Sunday and this girl right here. And also we are not going to be using any Rage Region heroes. Furthermore, we don't use a Lord bonus because the Lord bonus, the Northern Lord bonus, could actually line up better with one build than the other one and then provide an advantage because you do get a 20% damage increase if the shield applies while she's in Demon Slaying stance. So yeah, that's the reasons, and here we go. So Midan is also just there to be a neutral healer and to make sure that Falcia doesn't die, because that's the annoying part of testing ground DPSs against AMR. As soon as we unpause, we obviously start the timer, put in Falcia, go to 2x speed, let the boss come in. Falcia obviously hitting the boss, Oleg going in, triggering her ultimate right here, Constance coming in clutch, and then Midan is just there so we can ensure that we actually survive the devastating ground strike. There we go. And we can put down Wrath all the way over there. Trigger Falcia's ultimate as soon as she has dealt with the minions. Need to let her take care of the other ones. And now we can finally bring in Abomination. Time for Arrogance. Another Falcia ultimate. And time for Captain Claw or Admiral Claw or whoever you want to call him, however you want to call him. So yeah, looking quite alright. Wrath might die and we need to put in Torador. We gotta see about that. Another Falcia ultimate. There we go, Wrath gone, Torador in. Claw obviously at the top there helping us out quite a bit. And then this should be the last Falcia ultimate to end it all. Hopefully. Okay, that didn't do nearly as much damage as I expected. But 1 minute and 40 seconds. And dead. Now, obviously the question, what difference do 50% crit damage make? Alright, this time the same thing, just with 0.9 seconds. So we've already swapped the aforementioned piece. We'll be again going in and doing the exact same thing as last run. So pause, unpause and go. Falcia in 2x speed. Let's see if we can make it work again. As soon as she hits Oleg time, ult time, Constance time. Then Midan time. Midan. Perfect. Wrath to the rescue. Falcia with the ult. Okay. So obviously the ult timings are slightly different, which means we can trigger the ultimate only here. Go in with Abomination. And obviously Arrogance. And fix it up with Admiral Claw at the top. Furthermore, also we can have a look at potentially using attack percent instead of crit damage. So that's also something possible. But we are closing in on 20 seconds difference and still 30% HP left. So we'll be going with probably one more ultimate. Let's see how close we can get it to 0 by 140. So 19%, 16%, 140 reached. So it's a difference of 10% HP. Torador in obviously right here. So we can at least have her finish the fight. And then closing in with a difference of around 10 seconds. We have the clear. It's Guild Boss time. So, Falcia and Guild Boss, let's have a look and let's talk a bit about the build we settled on. So, build-wise, we'll be going with 200% attack, plus 484 attack speed, 100% crit rate, 179% crit damage, and no rage regen. That's the way it is at the moment. And the main reason why the attack speed is so high because it pushes us down to all the way to a 0.7 second attack interval. Now, why is that 0.7 second interval all that important? Number one, you only regenerate rage with your Falcia through attacks. So rage regen, or obviously rage regen percentage works. Rage regen auto she doesn't have. So there's no rage that she normally regenerates. So only through attacks can she actually trigger her ult. Number two, under her talent, it states that after performing 6 basic attacks, she then gains the Demon Slaying stance, which means the faster you attack, the shorter the cooldown in between Demon Slaying stances. Number 3 is going to be specialized attack speed overall. Specialized attack speed just produces a greater attack interval reduction, so it makes the attack speed attribute more viable. And then number 4 is that the shorter your duration in between Demon Slaying stances, the more often you trigger a Demon Slaying stance, the more rage you get, because every time you go into the Demon Slaying stance, you get 10% extra rage on top, which is going to be a total of 1100 rage. So that's the way this is going to be. Interestingly enough, with the artifact, both Realm Tier and Waning Skull, at least with the stats we have on our Falcia, perform about equally good. So we are going to be going with the Wailing Skull, but if you do have a Realm Tier, feel free to, at that point in time, whenever we do get that rework, if it even makes it through, who knows, maybe they change it again. If it makes it through, do go with the Realm Tier. They do both end up the same, and even though the Amulet of Arteries isn't terrible, that's if you have it at 25. Imagine trying to get that at 25. It's basically you relying on the exclusive craft, and furthermore, it still can't compete. It's not a bad one, but the numbers really aren't anything too impressive. So let's have a look at the rest of the team. We have Rework. So that is his build, but we are actually going to be facing him away from the boss, because I'll be making a video with Ronaldo tomorrow where we'll be talking about him in depth, showing you the damage numbers, what kind of builds we came up, and all that good stuff. Secondly, we have Mary. Mary is going to be there to produce magical and physical vulnerability, which obviously works for both of Falcia's basic attacks, and then also obviously doesn't work for her true damage. Furthermore, because Rourke isn't going to attack and he is an HP based unit, so he doesn't need an invigoration buff, we'll be going with the morale bangle. So set wise, we have some decent stats, but honestly the only thing you would need if you really want to make this work is just as much attack speed as possible. Your Mary needs around 230 to 300 attack speed to permanently keep up the magical and physical vulnerability, and the morale 4% bonus damage is just that. It's a bonus. Artifact wise, Nightmare Samsara doesn't even come in because you do not want to ult with her. Next, to stay true to the northern theme, we are going to be going with Nocturne. Nocturne in a Sorbonne Arcana set, decent attack speed at 250, rather high-ish attack at 210, 220%, and then decent crit damage at 193%. Artifact wise, we'll be going with this exclusive at 10, which is about equal to a 25 tier of Twilight based on my testing. Then obviously Falcia we've already talked about. Volca is in your standard just invigoration gear. And she's even less important because we are running a Mary. Then we have Lunaria, also in full invigoration gear, but she's not even needed because Raw can't even use invigoration. Hex is in a decent set with around 200% attack, 332 attack speed, 98% crit rate, and then 198% crit damage, as well as his own Suture of Carpus at 10, which is even stronger than a Spirit Siphon, so do keep that in mind when you look at this Hex's damage. Dolores is not an invigoration set, but she is running a Golden Scarab at 25, even though that one isn't really needed, so we're just going to swap it out for a Keen Wisdom, because we already have our usual 50% rage. Laurel is in your standard somewhat tanky plus invigoration gear. And lastly we have Hollow in a classical 100 like crap ton of attack speed, crap ton of rage regen. The rest of the stats are whatever, any combination of attack, healing effect, whatever you get. And then Euphoric Orb at 25 just to boost Falcia's attack speed even more. Could also be a Golden Scarab or a healing artifact or a lower Euphoric Orb. It's really not that important. So what can we expect from Falcia, Nocturne and Hex to be doing by themselves? Time to find out, though before we get into that, obviously let's disable the timer. And here we go. I'll be moving myself over so you can see the ultimates. And guild boss time. So we'll be starting off with Hex, boosting him with the Laurel Invig, bringing in Nocturne with the Hollow Invig, then Dolores, Falcia next to Laurel, boosted with the Volca Invig, Rock actually facing away, and then for no point, with no purpose at all, boosted with the Lunaria Invig, and then lastly we have Mary. So straight off the bat you can see we were able to trigger Falcia's ult the very fastest out of all of them. And right here we can go with our very first Nocturne ult, as well as our Hollow ult, and we keep everyone on the field, or basically we keep Laura on the field until Dolores is triggered, so we can get that beautiful back-to-back cast. Right here we were able to trigger Falcia again already through the use of Laurel, so we can probably also go to 2x speed, because we don't really need to pay attention to too much. I'll just probably only slow it down around the times where we actually do get ultimates ready. So right here, hopefully we can get that Falcia on the invulnerability phase, or vulnerability phase. And as you've seen me kind of panic clicking here, that is because if you are in the demon slaying stance, you cannot trigger any ultimates. So if she is doing that animation, you can't trigger her ultimate, which is super annoying and might actually cost you a few hairs if you do actually decide to play around with her. See, the beautiful part about Nocturne and his exclusive artifact is that in ultimate, and especially if you have a max gate, there is a chance that you can really just back-to-back ultimate with him, because he'll regenerate rage with his Dark Sacrifice. As you've seen there, he got 35 extra rage. Hopefully it triggers again another 35, so it's already 70. And then potentially another 35, so that's already 105, another 35, another 35. So he's really getting a lot of mileage out of that artifact, and he's basically already ready. And the beautiful part is, right here, we can actually wait to place in Laurel, activate Nocturne, and then as soon as Nocturne is triggered, take Laurel out. And Hex is also most likely going to be, again, close to ready. Right here, there we go. And Dolores with the beautiful double trigger. Hollow again for some more rage regen. Falcia should be able to come up in Dolores time as well as in the vulnerability phase if we're lucky. So come on. There we go. Was rather close, but still worked out fine in the end. And we are breaking 20k by 2 minutes, which honestly isn't half bad. So right here, the big question obviously is to hold or to go. I guess we'll just go. And then hopefully our ults should be up by the time we need them again for the shield. And that's also why I'm going to hold back on Hex, because the chance is that all our ultimates run out, and then we're pretty screwed if we do end up with no ults against the shield. So we'll also wait with Falcia here, just so we can trigger Dolores, trigger Falcia, trigger Hollow, and then hopefully come out on top against the shield, even though we are technically only using 3 units, though those are boosted to Oblivion. So Hex, Falcia with Morale, Invigoration, Dolores, Hollow, you name it, right? But we were able to successfully deal with it, as well as, again, go with the double Dolores ultimate. So ultimate timing wise, everything is going quite well. But, I mean, you can already kind of see it damage wise. Obviously, we aren't using Rock to actually hit the boss, so the damage might be higher, but you don't know by how much before we show you Rock tomorrow. But yeah, here we go with the Nocturne. Laura in, Laura out. Start everything and go. Obviously, Hex again closing in on getting ready too. So that's 34k, 35, 36. Obviously, a big upgrade would be to just take out Rock. And you might even be wondering, what is Rock even doing? The answer is, Rock with his talent gives Falcia a shield, and that shield triggers her passive. And her passive says that she does 50% more damage if she's shielded while in Demon Slaying stance. So yeah, here we go. Damage-wise, we have 116 from Hex, which could have been higher for sure, going more closer towards like 126 with some better RNG, potentially even like 150. Falcia coming in with a very respectable 92 million. And then Nocturne also, for the fact that he's A0 and in a Northern faction, a faction that doesn't have any offensive benefit besides the 10% stats, also coming in with a very solid 74 million. So yeah, honestly, 92 million for a Falcia is not that bad. It's not that bad. Now the big problem is, I don't think the auto got uploaded, did it? So what happens if I click auto fight? The answer is we get a completely different team. Great. That's just perfect. So we gotta retest all the other artifacts, I guess. Alright, so here we go. Hex in, Hex with the boost. Nocturne in, Nocturne with the boost. Dolores in. Falcia in. Volker for the boost. Marman in. Facing backwards, and there's no need to place Lunaria. So, again, early Falcia. Early Hex. Hollow coming in. Nocturne ready. And there might be a bit worse uptime on Nocturne though, because he now has slightly less attack speed. But we gotta see. Overall, I am quite curious how they each compare towards each other, because Hex is still A0. And Nocturne and Falcia are both now awakened 3 times. Will they come closer to Hex? Will they even be able to potentially beat him? And also, how will they be comparing against each other? If anyone's wondering why we're not placing Volker, the reason is there's no real need. Mary is permanently on the field, so we might as well keep it this way. It's not like there's any tangible benefit from us placing her down, and it just gives me less to focus on. So it's just, I guess, a win-win, you could say. There, Nocturne, come on, trigger your Dark Sacrifice, please. You now also have 5 second longer ult duration. It's a good thing. Huh? Oh, perfect. Another instant ultimate. Beautiful. I like it. And then, there we again had it with the demon slaying stance not actually working in our favor again. Hollow coming in nicely. Dolores perfectly ready shortly before we can place down Loris, so we can instantly take her out. Also instantly go with the Falcia ultimate. Nocturne still up for the shield. Up again. The uptime of a Nocturne with his exclusive artifact is really, really good. Like, honestly, if you have Nocturne and you have his exclusive artifact, he is a really decent character to consider even using for Guild Boss. Like 76 million even at A0 is still super nice. Also considering the fact that it was the northern faction that has like 0 offensive buffs that Nocturne can actually make use of. And another one. Still again a back-to-back ultimate. Kind of like Hex, but even a bit better than Hex. Though obviously, I mean the Hex at A3, we all know what he does. If we introduce the Hex at A3 here, it wouldn't even be a competition. It wouldn't even be a competition. So let's see if we can still reliably, successfully beat the shield here. So right there we are struggling quite a bit, though we should be able to. Ooh. Do we wait for Nocturne? Yeah, let's risk it. Let's risk it. Let's wait for Nocturne so we don't waste the ultimate gauge. Use Falcia on the shield. Come on. There we go. Beautiful. Double trigger Dolores. Trigger Hollow. And maybe get the Falcia ready? Nah, not quite. Not quite, but almost, and at least again with the Dolores ultimate. Also Nocturne again ready. What a machine. Now big question, do we wait here until Dolores is ready? We have 33 seconds. So I don't think it really matters anyway, which means we instantly remove. We lost Dolores. What the fuck? That is unfair. That completely ruins the last 30 seconds. Like, why? Come on, game. Let's see if we can at least get an idea of what we're looking at here. It's disgusting. 131 million. Falcia only with the 5 million increase and Nocturne with the 8 million increase. Honestly, I've already ran some tests outside that I wasn't able to record, so Nocturne and Falcia Nocturne is going to go somewhere towards the 92, 94, 95 million range, and Falcia in towards like 105 to 108 million potentially, so both getting around still 10% more damage. Same obviously would go for Hex, so Hex also going closer to 150 million. And that's also kind of really what you can expect. Falcia is still going to outdamage Nocturne, obviously hard to judge because the sets aren't completely equal. And also can't really be because one of them is using specialized attack speed and the other one is just doing their thing. And as you can see, I've done quite a few fights today to try to test this out, see how it goes. 386k blood on an average of around 40k, which makes this around my 9th or 10th fully completed fight. Alright, this obviously brings us to the last part, the conclusion. So, Falcia, did they turn her into an absolute beast, an absolute monster, a bringer of destruction, a bringer of mayhem? No. Did they make her deal more damage? Yes. Did they give her some more utility by adding some extra rage region, and did they make her rotations easier for her demon slaying stance? Yes. Did they reduce the shield for the awakening? Yes, they did. Do you really notice it? No. So overall, Falcia is better, but the big problems still stay. She still doesn't perform as well because there isn't really enough support to boost her properly. And Also, it's this range over here. It's only one tile. As I've already discussed with a couple of my community members, the very best change to Falcia wouldn't actually be a rework like that. The very best and most loved and most appreciated change would be changing Falcia from the Northerner to the Unnamable faction. It would give you so much variety with her, because if you wanted to have more range, you could use her with Piercers. If you wanted to attack faster, you could use her with Nightmares. If you needed another DPS to run alongside your Inferno Squad, you would run her with an Inferno Squad. If you wanted her to use her true damage capabilities, you would run her with your Praetors. If you wanted to use her for her magic damage, you could technically run her with Curse. So, I don't know, Moons and Devs, if you're listening and if this is in any way, shape, or form possible, but please make Falcia an Unnamable unit, and we see each other next time.